The last week was a pretty good show. I have picked up some more followers, and of course this week gonna be even better. Folks, I tell you, I went to the hearing, the federal courthouse at the Thad Cochran building. I went, Dakota Holt, that's my daughter, so I went down there to support her, and I tell you, it was a learning experience for me. I would suggest that each of you out there in podcast land go if you had the opportunity to go in the federal court just to see how they do things. They will have additional hearings tomorrow, and they'll probably have some next week because they do about, I say they do about 9 a day. And so you're talking about 52 people. Um, I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to tell you about the observation, what I saw that when I was there. The first two people they brought up there was Main Power and his brother, and um, Dakota Holt. Uh, my daughter came with Maine, and no, she did not. No, it was just Maine Power and his brother. They were the first two. They didn't bring anyone else up there. And the way they do things is when Madison County, they bring everybody over at one time. Everybody comes over on the van, and they stay there until they finish with everybody. So they did let Darius, I think that's his brother, that's Main Power. His brother is a quadriplegic, meaning he's paralyzed from about here. Let me stand up so you can see from here. His start bending. He's in a wheelchair, and of course, they when they arrested him, they got um, drugs and things. I saw people that I didn't know. I think the King guy saw him. He was there with Tay Armstrong, and I saw Tay Armstrong. I saw shit. They did let her have bond, and I want to talk about that. And my daughter Dakota Holt was there last. She went there with Timmons, I think Merle, and it was three of them went there, four of them, and all three of them was released. They released all three of them. And I'm gonna tell you that magistrate, his name is Ball. He did a very good job. I want to explain to you guys about a magistrate and a judge, the difference between the two. The judge, the federal judge, is appointed by the president of the United States, and it's a lifetime appointment. The federal judges in whatever district it is get to vote and nominate the person that they want to be a magistrate. So magistrate or judge Greer, I think her name is Lakeisha Greer. She's the one that was there yesterday over my son Raymond Payne. That mean my nephew Raymond Payne. I can tell you, it really was cold in there, and it really wasn't cold. I think it's more of nerves, and it's just being in that environment and knowing that you're in a place where you can be taken from your family, and you seeing your family members being taken from you or thrown away for a long period of time. Folks, I watch the agent was Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, MBN. Now, these are, in my opinion, are state cases and should have been on a state level. But I think they use the federal government when they want to give them more time and when they don't really have enough evidence to pursue a state case. This investigation started in 2017, like a lot of you already heard already. When I heard the testimony, it started in 2017, but Agent Harris died in, I think, 2019 or died in 2 years into the investigation. Now, to me, folks, that's no excuse. If you're doing an investigation and the investigator die, now this is the state of Mississippi, and that's pretty big. So my point of it is, when you accumulating evidence, I think they just trying to create a reason for it taking so long for them to bring the people that they arrested to justice. And you started an investigation in 2017. It was not the federal government, I'm opinionating, that started this investigation on all the various defendants in 2017, but the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics started the investigation. Now, folks, you heard me say last week, out of all this time, they didn't get one rock, they didn't get one pill, but they did. What they did is they gave samples, not an example. An example is not the real thing, but a sample. They gave samples of the evidence that they had against the 52 defendants, and and um, and so I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about um, Jermaine Powell, he had a lot of charges. His record, they have a code that they use. What they had, everybody was not a bond hearing; it was a detention hearing, and they used United States Code 183142, and then there's A, B, C, D, and then they got subset 1, 2, and then they got other subsets. And so this is to determine whether or not there's an assumption of guilt, whether or not the U.S. attorney proved his case on the assumption of guilt. And so you have what you call rebuttal assumption, where they get to rebut what the U.S. attorney said, and that is the defense attorney for the defendants. In my case, my daughter, my nephew, and everybody else, Tay Armstrong and her two brothers. I think his name, the King guy, not Kevin King. Then you had Jeffrey Murrow. You had Timmons. I don't know Timmons' first name. Then you had Sharon Ruffin's son. I don't know his first name either. But yeah, let me tell you about Sharon Ruffin. She told me I better not call her name. Two Bell said, don't do it, y'all. Two Bell, stay out of this. But anyway, Sharon said, I better not call her name. I know she listening. If she ain't listening, I know one of y'all going to bring on up in there. Now, y'all know how loud Sharon be when she... I ain't seen her in a while, but she's not afraid to talk. She's not afraid to speak up. But when she had to testify, I had this. They had the microphone. The microphone was where the microphone had to tell her, "Girl, you need to speak up." Now they had to tell her to speak up. She was speaking so soft. But I can imagine, I had to say that to her because she said she was gonna get on chat and say something to me if I mentioned her name. Well, I've done that. I don't believe she's gonna do that. But here's what I want to say too: is that Sharon Ruffin's son was not a part of the conspiracy. That came out during testimony. The Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics had a confidential and came to the agent. This is what Agent Alcock said on the testimony. He said that his informant came to him and said, hey, I can go to, I know a guy that's selling drugs and I can go to him and purchase a large quantity of drug from him. And so they said, okay, so you understand that they had a wiretap of 27 people. He said approximately 27 warrants that they have to tap cell phones. Now, let's say they're tapping my cell phone. Everybody called me. They're going to listen in on that conversation and record it. So we're going to get back to that in a few minutes. So this Sharon Ruffin's son was not a part of the conspiracy. No one called him. No one, he was not a part of those people, that group. I'm gonna say like Lil Hurd and Jermaine Powell. He was not a part of those people, and Fred Campbell, that had wiretaps, and he was not a person that was calling them up and making purchases from them. He was somebody that they snitched, told, say, hey, we got somebody we can go and get. To me, that's entrapment. So what they do is they go to him, and they don't go, but they confidential informant go to him and make a purchase from him one time, and a month later again. Now, he made bond, and rightfully so, because he had only one other conviction, sale of THC in within 1,000 feet of a school, but it was more than 5 years ago. And I read the code and look at the code. If your latest charge is more than, they have what you call rebuttal assumption. And so the magistrate, the judge, look at your charge, look at the charge to determine whether or not the evidence is weighed heavily, lightly, neutral, or it's weak case. Neutral, he's neutral, meaning that it can go either way. It can be a weak or strong. Or in his case, and in my daughter's case, because they and I don't want to cross it up, because they actually and y'all heard me talk about custody of the drugs. When they bust you with drugs, that's what's wrong with DeCarlo. That's what's wrong with Tim Clark. That's what's wrong with Carl Clark's son, is that they broke the chain of custody. But as soon as this guy made the purchase, their informant made the purchase, they videoing all of this, and they're listening at all this, and in some cases observing it, either through the monitor or with their eyes. And so no sooner than the person leaving, they're looking at that, they secure it, they put it in custody, they bag it and tag it. They send it straight to the crime lab. They didn't do like they did like in DeCarlo Clark, where they this person get it out of the ditch and then he take it and give it to somebody else, and that somebody else take it to the sheriff department and then give it to Wilburn, whatever his name is, give it to him, and he sent it to him. Look at that, folks. They gave that man life without parole for that shit. And so, but in this case, they did a very good job because they didn't break the chain of custody. And so they sent it to the crime lab, and it did come back. It came back, I think, if I'm not, methamphetamine. Both times for my daughter, and I don't know. In his case, my daughter, it was pills, but I think it may have methamphetamine. They didn't have her on audio or video or anything like that with any of the other drugs. It's conspiracy to possess and distribute crystal meth, amphetamine, MDMA, which is methyl dioxide, methamphetamine, and then methamphetamine and cocaine. But she only had one of those things, but they charge her with all of them. Folks, I got to tell y'all this shit right here now. Those that got charged for transacting within 1,000 feet of a school, everybody, all the states, all the jurisdictions have that if you sell drugs, possess drugs, consume drugs or whatever within 1,000 feet of a school, daycare, church, or playground, it's enhancement. Folks, some of the offenders, and you hear Tubel telling me to call name. I just can't call name. Folks, I got to say this to you now. It ain't much. The way the laws are set up, if they want to get you out there in podcast land, it's easy for them to do so if they charge you with conspiracy. Because under testimony came out that Tay Armstrong called up Lil Hurd and asked him for an 8-ball twice. That's the end result of her charge. Folks, that's sad. Now, unlike and I'm gonna talk about my daughter. My daughter never talked to anyone over the phone, never called anyone, no one ever called her. She had the person that the informant talked to, Maine, and Maine sent her to do the delivery according to testimony twice. One time somewhere else, and another time by Carver School. Lord, folks, if somebody calling you, everybody that's doing something wrong and ain't doing nothing wrong knows that you can't do nothing by a school. So if somebody call you up and tell you they want you to meet them at a school so they can give you some marijuana or whatever it is, you need to run. You need to hang up from that person, because that person there, anybody selling drugs know that if they sell it by a school, they're taking a chance with life without parole. So if a person is that callous, gonna call you up on the phone and talk to you, and they could meet anywhere. They could meet at Sidewasher Creek. They could have met at the state line. They could meet anywhere because everybody got a car, but they want to meet at a school or a church or a playground. It's something wrong with anybody that would go in and take out a transaction like that. But I gotta say this, is that Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, they had a press conference, and I didn't go to that, and I'm glad I did. But it seemed when you look at the press conference, all the people that they had involved, they had these guys here were members of Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, and also they said they also was also a member of HSI. I think I'm saying that right, and I think that's Homeland Security Investigation. I think they used that to kind of tie it in with the feds. But folks, I gotta tell you, this guy, what I seen when he testified for the U.S. attorney, he could speak like I'm speaking, with not wouldn't say, I don't know. He gave the answers like that, like water flowing down the side of a mountain. He gave his answers. But when those defense attorneys start asking him to, I don't know, I don't remember. I mean, I tell you what, it would have been easier to hold a greased pig than to try to get him to just say one thing that, and we ain't nobody asking him to lie, one thing that would favor those defendants. Man, I'm talking about, he admitted out of that Dakota, that it was Dakota. She was there with two other people. She was there with Timmons. He even admitted that he was not an escape route. Timmons turned himself in. And you know what? The judge had a recess. And when he recessed for a few minutes, it really was a few minutes. Here's what I think. It's just my opinion, too low. Just my opinion. I think that all four of those people should have been released on bond. And I think that he had to go out so he didn't do any, meeny, miny, mo. He looked at the one that was least, was more of a risk than all of them, because he wanted to, this is me opinionating, it's not what I know is factual, that he had to give the U.S. attorney something, because he let all three, he let Jeff, I think his name Jeffrey Merrill go, he let Dakota go, and he let the other person go. But Ruffin, it was Ruffin. It was Ruffin, Muriel, Holt, and Timmons. Those four was there together. And then the other set was King. It was King, Tay Armstrong, and the other person. They didn't let him go either. They didn't let him go because King actually was on probation when he picked up the charge. And I want to get back to the charges too, people. For most of these people, charges occurred in 2019 or 2020. The only exception to that was Sharon Ruffin's son. He picked up his in 22, but you understand he was not a part of the wiretap of the conspiracy, and that came out during testimony. Also, when you get somebody on wiretap and you don't really see the person, but and I want to get to my nephew now. My nephew called up Fred Campbell, and asked for something. Too bad. So you know what it is. I might, but I don't want to say it. But he asked for, I think, cocaine. And James Green did the same thing. They called the same person up. Now they had, if I'm not mistaken, they had James Green, they had Fred Campbell, and they had my nephew, all of them up there at the same time. They had the white boy from Newton, and they had Billy Wilson and another person. I think another person, they had that person up there with them, and none of those. The magistrate didn't. The only person that I know that they released was Elbow. Jeffrey Jennings was the only person that was released. She locked everybody else up. She denied everybody else bond. Well, what she did, she she detained them. She allowed for them to be stay in detention until they go to trial. And in this case, folks, they ain't gonna get out of there until they finish doing whatever time that they get. I said that James Green will get anywhere from 4 to 10 years. My nephew will too. And that's if they plead out. If they go all the way to trial, they're gonna get it on the high heavy end. I want to tell you guys about the categories. The feds have 5 categories: category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you're in category 1, you're in category 1 if you've never been convicted of a felony before. And then as you start getting felonies, even misdemeanors can pull you up to category 2. Also, they look at the nature of the crime. That's what 183142 tells that the magistrate look at when they're looking at detention. And the U.S. attorney recommend that everybody be detained. And they make a determination whether or not there's an assumption of guilt, meaning that has the U.S. attorney prove the assumption of guilt, or the defense attorney but did an assumption rebuttal or rebuttal assumption, however you want to say it, meaning that, and did he prove it or did not prove it? And a lot of those people cases that I seen yesterday, their attorneys prove that they did rebuttal assumption. Because there's no strong evidence, especially if you talking about taking a person's life from them, and you ain't got you don't get, a lot of those people didn't get drugs taken from them, except for Billy Wilson. Now I'm told that Billy Wilson had money, had drugs, had guns, and they even videoed him or had evidence of him in Mexico with transaction. And I want to tell you guys that a man had a bug in his car. He had a bug in his car. So here he is, got a bug in his car, and he didn't authorize them to put it in there, and he didn't even know it. So they talked about him having a bug, audio and video. So you understand out there, and I'm gonna tell you now, you better go back to what Ward Calhoun said. He said that Sheriff Calhoun said that if chances are you already know about us, he said keep doing what you're doing, they will get you. They have the technology. And one person they got him getting out, that's LaHurd, I think. He was trying to get away, and he was they got him at the airport, from what I'm told and understand. So they got the technology where they see you, And then they get there when you get there, they got the technology that they can put it in your car. And guess what, folks? You see how I'm looking at myself right here because the dash is here. You're doing the same thing. So what they was able to put something in his car, not on the floor where they can hear. They was able to see things that was going on, taking places in that car. So I don't know what it was, and I don't know anything like that. All I know is this is Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics. But I gotta say this, folks, and most of these, this took place at Lauderdale County Courthouse. And I asked Sheriff Ruff, and I'm finna call her out again. I said, hey Phyllis, I say, Sharon, do you vote? She said, I used to, but I don't anymore. Folks, it's sad that out of 52 people, I would bet everything I own that out of 52 people that was arrested, I know of two of them that do vote, and that's James Green and Raymond's Payne. I know those two vote. Of the parents and uncles and cousins and boyfriends and girlfriends that went down there, and fiancés and wives and children that went down there, I know of two parents. I know of four people. I know of four adults that I know vote. There's Pam Chapman went down there with the Jennings family because she do a lot of work for them, and she was asking. She went down there to give support. Uh, I know she vote. I know Eddie Hope vote. I know Doris Payne vote, and I know Greg Payne vote. So I couldn't say that for the rest of the families, folks. Now I just about bet it. Oh yeah, and Lo just made a very good observation, a very good comment. She said, "I can guarantee a confidential informant placed the bug inside of the car, and I can guarantee that too." But you got to understand, Lo, it's got to be something like a hat or something like that. It's got to be something that's gonna be there all the time because it stayed in the car. It stayed in the car until they got to get it out. And I'm gonna tell you, folks. Now, this is my opinion. It's gonna be another round of pickup because all those people that's in jail, they have to cooperate, and that's another thing. You get points. They have a point system. For every point you get, I think now, based on my math, and I may be wrong, you get 1/8 of your sentence knocked off for every point that you get. And so you can chip away at your, but you got to be able to give them something. But they got everybody in jail, and I feel so bad for the defendants because these are victimless crimes. You're selling somebody something that they want. Um, I just can't see destroying not just that person livelihood. You're not caring about that person contributions to the community, that person family, that person children. That man, I seen somebody mother was in there, grandmother was in there, the wheelchair. The judge didn't care nothing about none of that stuff, man. They don't care nothing. I gotta say this is that we need more judges like Judge Ball in that Lauderdale County, Kemper County, in the state of Mississippi. He's a very good judge. I never seen a judge so fair and so not. He was not pro prosecution. He was not pro defense. He straight down the middle. One time the U.S. attorney said something, and this guy was so well read that you imagine this judge reading all this. Most judges don't. They have to go point. He was going through those notes like he was a student in college taking a test, and he was going through those notes. And she says he corrected her, and she had to withdraw. If he had not done that, it would have made the person that she was talking about or giving testimony against look bad. So Judge Ball, Match Keith Ball, need more judges like him. Very, very good. And I don't want to say anything about the lady because she went according to the guidelines. I read the guidelines. My nephew had not had a charge in more than 20 years, but he had so many of those charges, all of them dealing in, and this is me based on my being my nephew and watching him grow up and knowing some of the things that he's been through. I think that most of his charges, he ain't never got charged on armed robbery. Every time he was charged, it was always drug related. And every time when he was young, he got violated probation. He was on probation. And so they looked at that and that stopped him from getting it. And the same thing happened with Jane Green. Now, I don't know when they pick up their charges. I just, because I wasn't there, my sister was there and their dad. And so my sister, she's like low. She remembers everything, and she told me it hurt her so bad, and she called me up and you know, if y'all look at me, I have a reason to be sad. I have a reason to be hurt. A lot of reasons is that I love my people. I love my community. And I had to watch families cry. I had to watch families be disappointed. I had to watch inmates. It's sad when you see a black person. uh, Timmons should have been released. He should have been, and he wasn't. And he's not going to be released because the judge did not leave a way out for him to make bond at a later date. The only person that was given a way out to make bond at a later date was DJ Corey, Jacory Smith. He had a foreign warrant. Nobody knew what that was, folks. And since I've been back here, I have Googled it. I've called up police officers. I called up attorneys, and nobody knows. I called up people that been in federal prison before more than one time and long times and done dealt and seen a lot of people. They never heard of that before. Now, one person Googled it and said a foreign warrant deals with a warrant from another state. But you understand that we're talking about the United States government. So this is the United States government. So no state inside of the U.S. is foreign, only a foreign country. And I know for a fact that no one that this person had not, and they had that same information in there on my nephew. Now I wasn't there, so I don't know whether they had that in there. But he called up Fred just one time, and now he's locked down. And his daddy testified about the houses that he have that are on HUD, the things that he's doing in the community with fixing houses up, and that. And my sister, whenever you, according to the 3142 and the different sections on there, that anytime they release somebody out on bond, if it's an unsecured bond, podcast land, that means that they do not have to put up any money, nor do they have to call a bonds person. Once they hold up their hand and they swear to do and tell the truth and do what it is they're going to do, the judge signed the paper, they sign it, and they go back to Madison County, and their family go there too, and they ride home with their family. So Dakota's at home with her family. Tay Armstrong, I saw the tears. I could see the tears running down her face, and I felt so glad and so relieved. And I don't know her. I don't know them. I was so relieved to see her be sent back home. She asked for an 8-ball. What was it? An 8-ball of snuff? Was it 8-ball of what? But the agent, let me tell y'all something out there. Y'all think y'all can talk in code on them damn phone? It's bullshit. You cannot talk in code. Everybody know what an 8-ball is. So, but the agent gave testimony that they talk on the phone in code, but we know what those codes mean. And don't think that they're not going to, they got technology where they can watch you inside of your living room, the images of you moving around and doing everything while you talking, like they could be watching me and you now out in podcast land. They have that kind of technology. If you don't want to be away from your family, if you do not want to go to jail, you better stop doing what you're doing if you're doing it. If you got family members doing, you better tell them to stop. Because these are state cases, really, because not one federal agent got up there while I was there and testified. Not one. It was always a state agent. And the case was so fickle. I mean, you mean to tell me you got somebody facing 10 years for life based on talking on the fucking phone? That's some bullshit. But that's how the conspiracy is. And now let's get back to we are being decimated. We are being decimated. How the black community is being meticulously destroyed. And I know whose fault it is. Yes, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm finna tell you that now. It's your damn fault. It's your fault. Go look in the fucking mirror. It's your fault. Now, damn it, let me tell you something. Now, the shoe don't fit all of you. Some of you doing what you got to do. I gotta give Pam Chapman her flowers. That's a strong black lady. She don't even know I'm gonna say this. She has been so good and has helped so many people. You're not gonna push her anywhere. She's gonna stand up for what's right. She's gonna make them. She's not even. I'm already short, and she's smaller than me. But I tell you, her heart. She's taller than Paul Bunyan. She is a hellified woman. She's a strong black woman. Low. Everybody know about you, but Low is another one. She does so many wonderful things. She makes sure you know, and Low will stand up for you too. If you come at her, you better come proper. But Pam is the one that you don't know about it. Cause me and Low, we always out there. But Pam is too. Pam is not going. She's gonna fight till she die. Really appreciate you, Pam. Just want to say thank you for your support and love and standing up for the black community. The same thing for you, Lo. But folks, I gotta tell you, go look in the mirror. Hold your head down. A lot of you feel bad because you're smoking cigarettes. You're killing your damn self. That's the number one killing rate. And y'all know Lowe's a chain smoker. They just probably saying, hell, we ain't got to kill her. Just look at her. She's smoking cigarettes right now. Now, Lord. Yeah, they love Pam Chapman. She will do all she can. She's wealthy. She's happily married. She has a wonderful family. She has a tax service and a bonding company. And we appreciate the service that you do in the community. But I have been with her on the forefront. She is not afraid. She will speak up. She's honest, and she's gonna tell you what it is that you need to know. But folks, it's your fault. It's sad that this thing, the arresting 52 people, they even kept the white guy that was new. What's up with you, Fred? They kept him, and I can tell you, if they keep the white folks, what you think they gonna do to us? Folks, they have used those laws, the racketeering law, the RICO Act. That's racketeering influence corrupt organization. They're using that. They're using the conspiracy laws. They use those kind of laws to bring down the mob, but they done destroyed the mob. They have decimated it, and I'm using that word, and I define it for you. Destroyed meticulously. They're carefully, like a surgeon with a scalpel. They carefully destroying the black community. Look what they're doing to the rappers, using their music and the RICO Act. And what they did first, before they used it on anyone that wasn't what her name, Fannie, whatever her name, over in Georgia, used it against school teachers in Georgia, mostly white folks, and got convictions. Oh, now they tested the white folks' collateral damage, and now we get the black people. Let's talk about those federal marshals. Almost all the marshals in the courtroom black. Look at this now. The white man, the judge, and then you have the white prosecutors, and then you have most of the defense attorneys are white, except for a few blacks. But all of the federal marshals that was inside their courtroom was black. It was one federal marshal that was white that stayed downstairs when you come in. They want to make sure you don't have any. And I want to tell you that if you got to go there, you cannot take a phone inside. No kind of electronic devices or anything like that. And it's just like when you go into the airport, they use x-ray machines to see everything inside your purse. I would recommend anyone just leave your purse and all that and phone. Just take your key and have an ID card. If you're with a group of people, only one person has to show the ID card, not everybody. That's what I noticed in observation. But I can tell you that those marshals, we're still slaves. You're damn right, we're still slaves. We're being housed. It's just like doing slavery. You got black people that are doing what they have to do to black people. You have that. Boy, I tell you, it ain't nothing where y'all, excuse me, but y'all know when we see one, we gotta get it. But anyway, when they have black people that are like doing slavery. You had the black people that was in the house that was keeping up with the with everybody. So you got most of your U.S. Marshal now black, and most of the people else, your defendants are black. And then look at it now. I gotta point this out. The one that was hardest ended up being a black woman. She was appointed. The person that selected her, those were they were Trump. Trump was the one that appointed Judge Johnson, who's a senior judge at the Southern District of Mississippi, and they voted her in, and she was with a firm. So, but she went by the rules, because I read it. I thought that if his charge is more than 21 years old, and Tay Armstrong's is been out for 6 years, but I looked at the thing, I looked at the code, I looked at the law, and they go strictly by the guidelines. They're not going to deviate it from it at all. And she went by the guidelines, and so did the judge. And so Tay Armstrong and they did not get no drugs off her, and I felt so sorry for her to call and ask somebody for an 8 ball, and they took her away from her family. She had a job, took her from her job, and they don't care about any of that stuff. I'm gonna tell you that James Green showed the license. They didn't care nothing about that. Greg Crane testified to all the houses my nephew controlling and running. They didn't care nothing about that. My sister, everybody has to have somebody that's going to basically be a warden for them, and that person can't have no criminal record. My sister did that part, and she was so hurt, and she was so hurt, and I had to talk to her and help them get on the interstate, but she was so hurt, and I know she was. And you know, her and Greg used to be married, and they ain't married no more. And they, boy, both of them strong-willed person. But my sister, they both made it home safe, and I'm glad. The only thing I hate, and I know she hate, is that they didn't bring her son home. But I gotta say this to all those that got your family home. I'm glad that your family do. Y'all have your family get their house in order, take care. Just assume that you are going to go to jail. Just assume that you're going to do some time. And if you make that assumption, then you need to prepare your estate. And even Tay might end up anywhere from 2 to 10 years. She might end up with that. She just might. And that's with her settling. You get points when you plead guilty. You get 2 points for pleading guilty. So that not 1/4 of your sentence out. That's 1/4 of the guideline. We talking about 1/4 of 20 years, or 1/4 of 10 years, or 1/4 of 100 years. I just want to let y'all know it's a book out there, and Lo can tell y'all, and she'll probably put it up there. I recommend everybody get that book, especially for your family that's in jail, so that you can educate them on what to expect. James Green wasted money. His family, I'm told, hired an attorney. It's a waste of money. Everybody I seen court-appointed attorneys working as if they was paid $50,000. They took Abcock head off and off and off. They done a they did a stellar job. If you get arrested by the Fed, save your money. The Fed is nothing like the state. It is nothing. You can, a good attorney, a paid attorney makes a difference on the state. On the federal level, you just wasting your money, because it doesn't matter who you know or what you know. Once you go into that Fed, they're going to go by those guidelines, your record, your characteristics. They don't say character, your characteristics are one of the things that they look at, and your history, on whether or not that they can satisfy. If detaining you is the presumption of guilt, is that calls for detention. If the presumption of guilt is proved, but they have other parts on there where your characteristics. If this is your first time being in trouble, are you a threat to the community? Do you have a job? Do you have strong ties in the community? These are just things that they look at your mental condition, your family ties. They look at all of those things to make a determination. So if those things are satisfied, even though there's a presumption of guilt has been proven, they'll let you out on bond. In most cases, they don't. I think a lot of people were able to come home on bond because it was not a federal case. It was a state case that they moved to federal court. And state employees just not that good when it comes to collecting evidence, because had it been feds, nobody would have been getting out on bond or parole. They probably wouldn't been bringing nobody to jail on no talking about drugs. They would have actually got the drugs. They'd have stayed in there until they'd have focused and found them, and they'd have pulled them out just like they did Dakota and Ruffin. Those two, the drugs was retrieved and taken into custody. And so folks, there's some other things I wanted to talk about. So let me go and look at my notes. I got to look at my notes. Folks, we got to do better. I'm going to tell you that right now. We got to do better, because they rounded up. When they rounded up the people in our communities, it affected all of us. It affected me. It affected my sister. Ain't never been in trouble in her life. She ain't never got a speeding ticket out here two back time. Bro, when she started driving, she didn't go but 5 miles. I promise she did. It was a man, he was 80 years old. He drove, this is in the 60s, and he drove his car. When he got on the highway, he went 15. Everything. I thought it took so long to get to Enterprise. I thought we was in California because he wasn't going about 3 or 4 miles an hour. When Doris first started driving, she didn't drive but about 15 miles an hour. Greg bought her a car. She would not go fast at all and would not ride on the interstate. And so she don't like, and she stayed there with her son. Her mother love kept her down there, and she don't like traveling at night. She was so upset. I got upset. I get about ready to get in my vehicle and drive up there and get her. She wanted to go to a hotel. I said, y'all near the wrong. They was at one downtown to call about $500 a night. I bet she'd have got helped in. She said, oh, wait a minute, it ain't that bad after all. Folks, I want to encourage you. Some of you out there that are listening, I want to encourage you to ask me a question. I need you to ask me a question because you'll prompt me. You'll make me tell you what you need to hear, and you'll make me tell you what they don't want me to tell you. So I want to encourage you to ask me a question so that I can really yeah. Again, remember they had 27. They had 27 warrants where they tapped cell phones, and so you understand. So everybody called, and all the calls they made, they had, and they also have bugs. They have video. You know, back in the day, the bugs didn't have video, but the bugs they have now has audio and video, and they planted that on some of the defendants. I don't even understand Billy Wilson. Billy Wilson had $30,000 in his house. I was told by the testimony came out that he had $30,000 in his house, had 4 guns, had cocaine and other drugs, and then they had him on audio, video, uh, pictures and everything. Now I'm just being a little bit facetious. It ain't nothing to laugh at. With him going to Mexico, you remember if you looked at the thing I think Lolo put up there on Hot Topics, is they stated they arrested somebody in Mexico. So they got him in Mexico with a transaction, from what I'm understanding. I wasn't there to hear it. So the things that I talked about are the things that I told you that I saw, and I gave witness to the testimony. My sister was there. They got there at 1:30, so they was able to hear Billy Wilson's case and all that, but they didn't let anyone. Only person got out was Jeffrey Jennings was the only person that I know of that got out yesterday. Everybody else was detained based on their record. And I ain't finna say that she was unfair or anything like that. And I'm not gonna say, folks, and I gotta tell you, a lot of y'all was saying that Jermaine Powell name is on a lot of people's paperwork and things like that. Let me explain something to you guys. If I call you up and you call me up and they have me wiretap, that's how everybody name in on the same thing, because they was all talking to each other. They confidential information. They see every case, meaning that they sealed it. And that confidential informant, they showed the pictures and they gave the fit pictures, but that name was redacted on the. I imagine the defense attorney, the name was redacted, I mean blacked out, or it wasn't placed there. And what the U.S. attorney said, every last one that I saw yesterday, and all under there, are placed under seal to protect their confidential informant. That confidential informant is still out there. Based on the testimony I heard, the confidential informant is a somebody that you know right around there in Meridian, Mississippi, that appears to know everybody and is still out there on the streets. And all of those in jail, you ain't gonna make but one assumption, is they gonna talk, and it's gonna be another round of pickup. But you understand, when you got people in their 40s and 50 years old, they don't want to go to jail. You got people that done been to jail 2 or 3 times, they don't want to go back. They gonna talk. They're going to talk. That's no assumption going to be made. Oh, yeah. Another thing, too, a lot of you out there got doorbell cameras and ring cameras. And thank you for that, Fred. On your door and all that. I want to warn you that they can come in on your cameras. And when they come to your house, they're going to get your camera. They're going to get your hard drive. Once they get that, everything that you ever seen, they got evidence right there on your camera of everything that you got seen. Everybody done came there. Everybody done came up there. They got all that. So even if you would say you with Comcast, and Comcast have cameras out there to watch your house, now do you understand that at one time, and I know this factually, when I was building my house in McCalla, I was in an all-white community, and they kept going there and sabotaging it every time we left. It got so bad that Alabama Power Company came out and put a camera up. It looked just like one of them little transformer things that the wire hook on, but it was a camera that they put 24-hour surveillance on my house. That's just how bad it was. But it was the narcotics that got them to do that. And so I'm telling you that the stuff that they have up there in those trees, there'll be cameras. It don't look like the camera that's taking your picture. It don't look like the camera that's in the casino or is in Walmart. It looked like the transformer. It looked like the cable box. It looked like the little round thing that got the wire twist on a transistor. That's what it looked like, and it's actual camera. So you never know. But the thing of it is, I'm not educating you so that you can go and do something wrong. I'm educating you so if you've done something and you ain't doing it, it's time for you to stop. If you want to keep your freedom, if you want to be free, you got to stop. That's my son Xavier calling me and everything. You can tell if the family was watching, reaching out with Eddie, he would have never called. He would have just sent a text. But I have a big family. If my family would just watch, boy, but we really, really got to come together as a people. And I think that but it's the cameras and the telephone. I'm telling you, if y'all talking on the phone, y'all better be talking. You can't even be talking about marijuana. And a lot, my nephew had drugs in his system. That hurt him too. Um, um, some of them had 3 or 4 different type of drugs. Some of them had all the drugs in their system. So everybody that get arrested by the feds, the first thing they do, they take a sample of their DNA and they test them for drugs. One person, they didn't find any drugs in his system, but he admitted to it anyway. Well, shut the fuck up. Stop damn talking. If they ain't find shit and they ain't got shit, stop running your damn mouth and trying to cooperate and tell the man something. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a damn what you telling them. They ain't doing nothing but say, look at this fool. But anyway, the person still end up making bun. I ain't gonna call his name because I don't want to have to fight his mama. Too bad, you just about done told who it is, but I ain't saying shit too bad. But anyway, I want to say this to that person. I want to say this. Those people, it's 2 of them, Ruffin and Holt. Those 2 people was hit with the confidential informant. They met them and served them because that stuff was sent to the lab. So those 2 people, in my, I'm just opinion now, I don't know for sure. Those 2 people probably could figure out who it was that they met at the school or met at Lazy Bottom or whatever. And I'm just talking. I don't know how they probably could figure it out. But I'm gonna tell you this: is that you cannot mess with an informant. You can't even mess with a witness, meaning that if someone gonna testify against you, you cannot contact them, you cannot call them, you cannot say anything about them, you cannot badger them or make them feel threatened in any type of way. And so I'm finna read your comments, and then if you don't have any more questions, I'm gonna be getting up out of here. Okay. Oh, the first person here said, "No, I ain't finna do that." This is Phyllis Dribbling. Say hello, everyone. Hello, Phyllis. Now y'all see me squint my eyes, so I ain't gonna even play like that. I'm just going on and put my glasses on. All right. I still look good. Loretta Allen. Okay. Hello, everyone. Phyllis Dribbling. Loretta Allen. I can guarantee a confidential informant placed the bug inside the car. Joanna Hill. I guess she loved Pam, and we all do. She is just so great. Fred, good evening. I've already said that. Phyllis, appreciate those who help others. I give praise where praise is due. I don't condone BS, but I'll go to all ends when you're right. And Phyllis, I don't know whether you vote or not, but that's one of the most important things that's hurting us in our community is that we do not vote. And because of that, you understand that the world is overpopulated. They ain't gonna depopulate the world, and what they're doing to decimate the Black community. The trickling effect from arresting 51 people, and most of them are Black, will have a profound effect on the entire Black community. You're not just talking about 52 people. That's going to affect anywhere from 600 to 1,000 people. You're talking about the people that work. You're talking about nieces, nephews, sisters, brothers, mamas, grandmama. You're talking about loss of income. James Green was a plumber. My nephew got all these houses on HUD, and ain't nobody. If anybody could do it like he could do it, then they would have been out there doing it. Can't nobody in the family take over that. Two Bell said I could, and of course I think Two Bell said you could, which is me, and so and it is correct, but I'm not going to. But the thing of it is that, and my sister could, and she's very good at that. I think Greg as don't have the patience, the tenacity to be in charge of it. But here's the thing of the area you gotta worry about is that if things are if this stuff is they have in if you go back and look at some of those indictments, it says seizure. So more than likely, anything that's paid for will be seized. Any money, anything that's in their name, and they're gonna ask them to do their own stuff. And if they lie, and here's another thing that a lot of them have going for them, and I'll say this, podcast land, is that it's not the federal government, it's not the federal agent, but Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, them. And so they don't have that same, but they did have it in there for those stuff to be forfeited. They're gonna use the forfeiture law to take houses, cars, money, and everything else of value there if you get convicted of drugs. And I'm gonna tell you, some people do not start taking things out of your name, because if you do that, that's not a good thing. Because if you do that, then you can get in trouble. They can get in trouble for that too. Man, y'all hear my son over there with? He must want me to fuss at him. I don't know why I do that. They know dad or snap. I'm finna spaz out, but let me continue. Okay. Phyllis again said, this typo. Andre Spencer, hey to you, Andre. What's up, niece? What up? Look at her. You sick or you on the weather? You just got it like that. Well, hey, baby. That's my niece. She has a very good job. I'm proud of her. There's Chandra. What's up? I ain't seen her in so long. Hey, Chandra. Terry Kelly. Hey, Terry. And she's right. We got to be careful. Well, we got to be careful who we vote for. We need people that's going to get the job done. And right now, I got to say this, and thank you, Terry, for bringing that up, because like a lot of people dissatisfied with Jimmy, but then you got to say, well, tell me what Jimmy ain't done nothing, but what he hadn't done is he has not he taken his job and used the police force to promote his agenda to hurt other people. Now, I know he hadn't done that. Andrea Spencer. Oh, bro, Sam John. Look at it looking like your dad. Hey, girl. I miss your dad, too. That was Sam Bell was a trooper. It's unfortunate what happened to him in the end. My condolences to you and to that family. I miss bro Sam. That was my brother. When he did 10 straight up. Trey said it wasn't none of him, Trey, but they wanted him so bad. Bilbo Mitchell set that man in jail for 10 years straight. And when he got out, I had 2 vehicles on my field in front of my mama's house. I gave Sam one, and I gave Jeffrey Wilkins another one. He had did about 4 years in Texas, and I gave it to him. And Sam said, bro, I said, I don't care what you do with it. And he did do that. But there go my daughter again, speaking Spanish. I love you too, baby. I can understand that. Te amo, papi. I don't know what that other word is, but I know. I think she's saying that I'm doing a good job with my presentation, and I love you too, baby. Me hablo español, hablo un poquito. Expectancy George, man. Expectancy calm George. What I just said is I speak a little Spanish and I speak a little German too. And then people, I do want to say this. I cannot impress upon you how important it is for us to vote and things. Now, come here, let them see you. Come here. Yeah. Come on, tell them hey. Tell Terry, hey. She go to Oak Grove High School now. Okay, bye. She go to Oak Grove High School and she's doing good. There, my son. I said hola. And hola to you. That's just hello. Cody, everybody know what hola is. But anyway, folks, we really do. And I want to touch upon this. I got to go before Judge. I got to go into the Markham courtroom. And I don't like going up in there. And I filed a motion for recusal. And they did not. And since they have already ruled on everything, I can talk about it. What John Howard did is that I filed a motion for him to recuse himself. And he didn't do it. He's continued, he want to bypass that as if it did. And they try to have it in for me and want to try to hurt me or do something to me every chance they get. But I ain't that person, man. Let me tell you something, folks out there. Y'all got to learn to pick your adversary. Don't just pick on anybody. You know, yeah, man, you'd be crazy here to fool with somebody like Pam Chapman or Lolo or Allen or Eddie Ho. Somebody that ain't got no sense. Even Terry Kelly ain't nothing to play with. Let me see who else name I see on here ain't that I know of. Oh, Fred Welch ain't no nothing to play with, but I see a lot of people over there. How you doing, Mr. Johnson? I see you laughing. Could you tell me what it is that you're laughing about so we can get this? But we want to do what we can. And I want to tell them two little Hope children in there. Don't y'all start putting these Spanish things on there. Hey, you heard Ted? I'm gonna say your auntie, but she's your cousin. She said you better keep them grades up. She's doing that, Terry. She's doing a good job. But anyway, we really got to start voting. I want to thank y'all for listening and everything. And we're going to sound. Let me just look and see. I want to make sure I got everything. For those of you that started late, there was 27 wiretaps, and they even have bugs in the car. I think that I covered everything. So I want to thank y'all for listening in, and I'll see y'all next Thursday, and we'll have some more information for you. Y'all be careful out there. They're really taking us down, and they're doing it with the Black community. If y'all had the opportunity to go up there, please go up in there and just sit in that courtroom and just watch so you can observe. It's cold on the back side of the gate. Imagine how cold it is on the other side of the gate where those offenders up there fighting for their life and trying to stay free, and they didn't care. They didn't let nobody out. They said Billy Wilson's sister came there, so she had about 30 clinics from California to Alaska, and that federal judge didn't care nothing about nothing like that. They don't care about if you know Donald Trump. They don't care about that. They go by the guidelines. Family, don't waste your money on lawyers. I'm telling you, because they go by the guidelines, and those federal defense attorney, they do a job and they go by. Everybody has to go by the guidelines, and nobody has to judge here. The hearing is at the Thad Cochran building off South Street, in Jackson, Mississippi. You stay on 20. Tell everybody got there. You stay on 20. Once you pass 55, go north. You take the first exit, State Street, and you stay on State Street until you get to South Street, and then you go down and park in the post office. They do not have parking in the front of the building. When you park in the post office parking lot, you will be behind the federal building. You walk around in front and go inside. No cell phones. Make sure you have an ID card. If you're with the group, only one person need an ID card. But I'm gonna have my son come in here and start speaking in Spanish in a minute. So y'all have a good evening. Thank y'all for listening. Y'all be safe out there.